You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 59. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hello there and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are new to the show, we invite you to hit that subscribe button in whatever app you use to listen to podcasts. We come out with new episodes every Monday with the intention to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. So we wouldn't want you to miss out on any of our episodes, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. For those of you that keep coming back every week, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. So today is an awesome day because it is now officially spring. I don't know about you, but we are starting to finally feel spring in the air here in Manitoba. The sun is feeling warm, the snow is starting to melt, and this week is spring break for us. So we are going to enjoy some time to do whatever feels good for us. And we encourage you to do the same. Notice what your body is asking for, what your mind is asking for. What is it that you feel that you need during this time? Be careful not to put any shoulds on yourself or think that your spring break needs to look a specific way. Maybe you're feeling called to sit on the couch and binge Netflix all week. Well, if that's what feels right for you and that's what feels nourishing and fulfilling and like it's filling your cup, then do that and do it guilt-free. Or maybe you want to be really busy getting out and about, getting errands done, seeing people you haven't seen for a long time, and you don't really feel called to give yourself a lot of rest time. That's okay too. Check in with yourself, notice what you need, and do whatever it is that makes you feel good. We have a wonderful episode lined up for you today. Josiane is continuing her conversation with Nicola Harvey, author of Mindful Little Yogis. Nicola is an experienced and qualified special needs educator, therapist, and children's yoga and mindfulness practitioner. She's written articles for SEN Magazine, Twinkle Education Publishing, and Ambitious About Autism. So if you heard our episode last week, Josiane started an awesome conversation with Nicola, and this is the continuation. So today we're focusing on concrete and applicable ways to practice mindfulness with our kiddos and to help them develop their self-regulation toolbox. We're exploring many strategies, including mindful movement, yoga, diaphragmatic breathing, visualization, calm down jars, music therapy, Lego-based therapy, and more. And Josiane and Nicola talk about the importance of helping our kiddos to develop their mind-body connection. This episode is perfect for you if you're looking for ideas that you can apply with your students and in your classroom or with any kids that you have in your life right away. Enjoy the show.
So we talked a lot about lots of different things. We defined a lot of different things, but I would love now to get into some applicable strategies. You've already shared a few. But starting with yoga, since that's kind of what we've been chatting about, what are some activities around movement or yoga that you would do with your kiddos?
Yeah, so I love to do yoga stories, and because I think that's quite a fun way of introducing yoga. Because obviously adults, when they practice yoga, it's very different compared to kids, and kids like stories, they like visualizations, they like to use their imaginations because they're so open and creative at that stage. So I within my book I have something called Josie the Star, and it's a young,
love it.
And it's basically a little girl that she notices a star in the background, and she goes on a journey, and on her journey she sees a bumblebee. So she hums like a bumblebee. And again, that's part of yoga breathing. And it's an ancient forms where you sort of put your fingers in your ears and you hum. And that has got some brilliant benefits for just calming the brain down and just sinking things in, sinking your sort of mind and body connection. And then she keeps walking, and then she sees a dog and she sees a tree. So within yoga, you have these different movements. You have downward dog. So children do downward dog, or they see a tree, so they do the tree pose, and then they eventually, after they've sort of gone through this journey, they go, they see the star. So it's lovely. And within that, I love to do these visualizations, but I also, within the book itself, there's a lot of yoga breathing exercises. So we have lion's breath. And I've been in workshops where people have just thought this is some crazy thing that I've just made up. I'm like, no, it's practiced by yogis for 5,000 years. And it's great one to use with boys, especially if they're really pent up. And it's basically a case, I'm not going to do it now, but it's basically where you take a deep breath in, you kneel down, and you get kids to stick out their tongue and just do really, really loud. And it releases a lot of tension from the upper body. And it's great. It clears the mind. So definitely, yeah. Any form of movement, particularly mindful, slow movement in sync with the breathing, is wonderful. And yoga is a great way to do that. So, yeah.
Just a little side story, but when Kaylee did her yoga teacher training, her teacher would make them do this every single day, the lion's breath.
Yeah.
And when she came home, she taught it to me. And at first I thought it was so funny, but it's such a nice way to release tension.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
body. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's fun as well. And like, if you have younger kids, because there's a section within the book called animal breathing, if you have younger kids, you can pretend to be lion. You can make the lion's claws with your fingers and just get into character. And with older kids, you can do it with the proper sort of yoga movement. So it's such a great activity to do. But most importantly, it releases tension and makes you feel calmer. So it's great. Yeah.
And in your book, you talked a little bit about diaphragmatic, I always struggled to say that word, breathing. Can you tell us what that means and why is it helpful? And can you give us an example as well?
Yeah. So it's basically just a lot of us, we breathe from the chest, very shallow. And especially when you feel panicked or you're rushed, you're like, and it sends signals to the brains that you're in a panic mode, and you begin to overthink, and you've got that, when you have that fight or flight response, you kind of, it's like you're flipping your lid. Whereas if you are doing some really sort of wholehearted breathing from the belly, like really getting down, and hands on belly or a soft toy on the belly, your diaphragm, everything kind of just moves up like a balloon. It inflates. Yes. It inflates. And this calms everything down. It regulates the blood flow to the heart and calms the brain down and sends messages that you're just feeling much more at peace, and it regulates everything within you. Relaxes the nervous system. So it's very beneficial. So if you're doing that form of breathing, you're breathing where a great thing to do is get children to put their hands on their chest and hands on their stomachs or their bellies, and notice and try and get them to get their belly to breathe in and out in sync, move in and out in sync with their breathing, because this is the way we should be breathing. And this is the way babies breathe, believe it or not. But when we get older, life comes along and things happen, and we start to breathe from up here because we get panicked with our list of things to do. Whereas if we do like more wholehearted diaphragmatic breathing, it just brings everything together and is great.
And I love how you're showing that mind-body connection, where then the brain, if you're breathing wholeheartedly, like you say, then the brain can calm itself too.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah. And a lovely thing that, so an example of this would be balloon breathing. So you literally, when children, they could either put their hands on their heart or their hands on their stomachs. And every time they breathe in, the balloon, they raise their hands. And as the balloon is filling up, and then they make their hands wider and wider and wider apart above their heads.
Ooh, love
to
it.
represent to represent the air coming in. And again, this is great. You've got that mind-body connection, and it's sending messages to the brain to just, relax. And I think the great thing about doing mindfulness and any form of self-regulation activities with kids is they're more susceptible to this sort of these methods, because our brains, a long time ago, people thought our brains were hardwired, but our brains are actually like plastic, and they can be rewired. They can, if you keep consistently doing something over and over again, you're sending messages to the brain that, oh, this is how we could be doing stuff. So if you're doing things like mindfulness or reminding kids, oh, just take some nice deep breaths and relax, doing that regularly sends a message to the brain that eventually they'll end up doing it themselves. So, when you're doing diaphragmatic breathing on a regular basis, or yoga or other forms of mindful activities regularly, the brain's starting to go, oh, we were here before. Okay. And then it starts to rewire and form new messages and new sort of connections to say, this is how I'm going to be. So, yeah.
And this connects perfectly to the STAR model, where they are learning themselves to stop, right? And take a breath.
Yeah.
I love it.
And relax.
And relax. I love it. You have a section in your book that is more sensory. Could you talk about a strategy that is a sensory strategy?
I absolutely love, so we've got the calm down jar, and the calm down jar, although that is, I think I've put that within the and section as sort of like a self-regulation tool, it also sort of crosses over with sensory, and it's a lovely activity where a child is given some water, and they put in some glitter glue, any other sparkly bits, and you put a lid. So it's a water in a jar, and they put all these lovely sparkly materials into the jar, and the lid obviously is fastly tightened, and you can shake the jar. And when they shake it, you see all these sparkly, glittery bits float. And this can be likened to what's going on in the mind. When we're feeling overwhelmed and we're feeling anxious, we're feeling stressed or pressured, this is what's going on. But by just focusing on it, tuning in and breathing, eventually the glitter settles, and so do our minds. And it's a really lovely activity to do with kids. It's a very sensory activity. So it's nice, particularly for younger kids, but also for older kids. I've known teenagers to have done this as well, used sensory calm down jars. Another lovely activity to use calm down jars with is where you get kids to sort of sprinkle bits in and label their emotions. So they will put in some glitter, and they'll say, oh, I'm feeling really, really stressed. And so you put the glitter in, shake it in, and then, oh, I'm feeling a bit anxious, and I'm feeling a bit happy about that thing going on tomorrow, but I'm not sure. And they do all of that, and then shake, put it down, and then ask the child to close their eyes gently, lie on their back, and breathe and relax. And then when they open their eyes and sit back up, they'll notice all of the glitter has settled, and they say, and then that's reflective of how they're feeling once they've done some breathing. So, yeah, the sensory part, obviously I love it all, but the sensory is sort of like a big sort of passion of mine. I
love that. I've used the calming jar numerous times, but I've never thought of using it in that way.
Yeah,
that's so
absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great way. And if you want to take it one step further, you can, there's different sort of emotional intelligence tools or regulation tools where you can have green glitter for happy, red glitter red glitter for angry, yellow glitter for nervous, and then they sprinkle all of these in dependent on, because obviously the child's got to take ownership. They'll do that. They'll sprinkle, put that in themselves, the glitter into the water, and obviously the adult guides them, supports them. Yeah. But then they either shake it up and stare at it whilst they're gradually calming down, or lay down, relax, close their eyes and breathe. And then when they're ready to sort of return, when they're calmer, they'll see that the glitter has settled, and so have their internal emotions. So, yeah.
I love that. I love it. That's so good. Another thing that you mention in your book is we talked about visual just now, like the piece of watching the calm jar, but visualization is a whole other thing. What does it mean, and how can we practice it?
Yeah, so basically, visualization is such a powerful thing. It's basically, again, it's about sending messages to the brain. And children tend to be, depending on the child, obviously, they tend to be quite creative and visual. And when we visualize an image, or when we think a thought, whether it is true or not, the brain doesn't know that. So if you're saying, if you imagine a pink elephant, the brain doesn't know whether it's true or not. You're thinking of a pink elephant, whereas visualization, particularly for children that are feeling low or have low self-esteem, it's a great way just to get them to visualize themselves in a different state. So they can be walking along the street, sit down and see a reflection of themselves in the stream, if they're in a park, and that person in front of them is much more confident, they're really empowered. And then a cloud comes floating down, they sit on the cloud and they go off, and you can do so much with visualization. It's amazing. But what I love is that the opportunities are endless. You can build children's self-esteem. You get them to picture different images in relation to how you want them to feel. So if a child is feeling, if they've got low self-esteem and you want them to feel confident, you would get them to relax and visualize situations where they're much more confident, or situations where they've done something really confident in the past and they're doing it again in the present day, and they're going to do it again beyond. So yeah, visualization is literally picturing the best possible outcome and sending messages to the brain to basically make a child, boost a child's self-esteem and develop their confidence.
So would you do this by guiding them through the visualization? How would you do this, like in the classroom? How would you apply this?
Yeah, so basically it could be literally like you're doing a meditation. So it's closing them. So I've got like guided imagery within the book, and it's literally closing their eyes and relaxing, taking some deep breaths, and imagining some nice calming white light or their favorite color coming in and out of their body, which calms them down. And then literally just asking them to go on a journey. And it could be whether they are visualizing themselves as a bright sun, a very positive, happy sun, or this confident, self-assured individual that is doing their exams, and whatever happens. So yeah, I would say it's making it as colorful and as rich and as relatable to the child or children as possible. But it's making it fun, most importantly. Yeah.
And kids have such a strong imagination to begin with. So we can hone in on that, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that they can develop themselves using visualization.
Definitely.
I love it. Yeah. You also talked about music therapy, which I'm not like, I know there are music therapists out there, but I've never worked with one and I don't quite know what they do. But could you give us an example of how to use music therapy?
Yeah. So music is so powerful. I use music a lot in the classroom and in my sessions. If you sit down with if you're in a great mood or in a bad mood, or if you're in your car and you're driving and you put on some music, it changes your state. it just, it takes you back, or it just reminds you of something, or it just makes you feel happy. You're like, oh, this is great. So music has so many therapeutic benefits, and that's why there's been lots of sort of studies and scientific research to prove that when children or adults, particularly if they have special educational needs, work with music therapists, it can make a real difference to their whole sort of well-being and state of balance. So activities within music therapy could be literally just with music therapists, it depends on the actual session, but it could be that what tends to happen is the child, once they've built up a good rapport with the music therapist, they lead the session. So it could be that it depends. They could be doing sort of like a call and response. So you could be listening to a song or live music that the music therapist is playing, and every time they hear an instrument or the music therapist says a word, the child does a particular action, or they join in, or they hold up a sign. That's a wild example. So just like there's lots of different examples, but the whole onus on music therapy is building a child's sort of self-esteem and getting that child to feel so much more self-assured. And music is such a mindful practice. It brings you into the here and now. Yeah. If you're listening to music and you can hear it in the other room, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, what's that? You stop and you tune in to what you're listening to. So I love within music sessions is that whole call and response, that whole sort of one person said something and then another has to respond. And you can do that quite nicely with music. So one person's playing an instrument and then another responds by doing the same rhythm back to them.
Love it.
That's all therapy. It's call and response, but it's mindfulness. It's a self-regulation tool, because the child has to be in the here and now. They have to tune in on what's going on, and they have to check in on the present moment. And if you're in a music session, particularly if you're working alongside a music therapist and you're doing an instrument, you're playing an instrument or listening into a particular sound so you can make a response, you can't be somewhere else in your mind. You have to be present, because you have to be actively listening to what's going on around you. So it's, wonderful. Yeah.
And speaking of therapies, one that I was very surprised to see in there, but what a great idea, is Lego-based therapy. And that's kind of the last one I would really like to talk about, because I just would have never thought of that. So could you tell me what it is, and how do we use this strategy? Yeah.
So Lego therapy tends to be delivered by speech and language therapists and or trained professionals that do it. But I particularly would say anyone could do it, as long as you understand what you're doing. It's a lovely activity because it's a self-regulation tool. And it was developed by scientists who were working with children with autism to develop their communication skills. And it's a wonderful thing because you get the kids and they have different roles. So you put them in a group of sort of similar abilities, and it's to help them improve their communication skills. But they're not actually, it's all about body language and working as a team and understanding each other. But within this, you have different roles. So basically, within Lego therapy, the children are given a picture of an object, and the object itself is made out of Lego. And the only person who can see this is one person, and that tends to be like the architect or the director. And then you have a supplier. So you have like a load of little bits of Lego, and the supplier is the person that has to collect the pieces of Lego. And then you have other roles within the group. But the idea is that most of the group can't see what they're making. And the other roles within the group, they have to say to the supplier, could you get me this? Could you get me that? And they eventually make this object that's on the picture without seeing what's on the picture. But it's very difficult to explain, but it's a lovely group-based communication activity. And it's a great way to get children to be in the here and now and be present. But they don't see the picture that they're making. So they're given, say for instance, they're given a picture of a house, and the architect is like, right, okay. The architect asked the supplier to go and grab the different pieces of the house, and then they, as a group, they have to make this house out of Lego. But the only person who knows what it looks like is the architect. And it's just a wonderful play on just how to work with each other as a team, but be mindful and present in the moment. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, I would definitely, if you are obviously interested in it, obviously read it in my book, but look up Simon Baron-Cohen. He's a champion. He's like very sort of he's a neuroscientist who's very much into Lego therapy and working with kids with autism. But this is great for all kids because it involves teamwork. It involves self-regulating themselves to communicate with each other and work as a team. So, and Lego is fun. It's it's a great activity. And so even if it's not formal sort of Lego based therapy that you end up doing, just when it's a bit like, like when you do charades, and one person is trying and everyone's going, it's similar to that, but you're making something at the end. And so it's really good fun. And Lego itself has got so many therapeutic benefits because they're so small. There's the fine motor skills, it's the gross motor skills, you're moving your bodies. So, and at the end, you have this finished product, this finished item that you've made out of Lego as a team. And when the kids see the picture and they see what they've made, they're like, oh, okay. So yeah.
Also, like Legos, I mean, it has been extremely cold in Manitoba the last few weeks, and my students haven't gone outside for recess in a couple weeks. So it's a little chaotic, but what's interesting is even in grades 5 and 6 is they still pull out Legos at recess to play with.
Yeah.
They never get sick of them. So what a great way to use them in a more educational way to teach them how to self-regulate. So I absolutely loved that idea.
Yeah. Because what I wanted to do, because I think there is this misconception that the book is about yoga. It's a book for yogis. And although it's Mindful Little Yogis, it's self-regulation tools to empower kids with special needs to breathe and relax, but all kids, it's inclusive of all kids. And so a really good way of connecting with kids and empowering them is by doing something they love.
Absolutely.
And most kids love Lego.
Yeah.
And adults, they have Lego museums and things like that, or Lego World over here.
Yeah.
So it's a theme park. So it's great fun, but more importantly, it's a lovely mindfulness activity, and you don't even realize you're doing mindfulness when you're doing it. So
I love it. And I want to congratulate you again, because I read a lot about, mindfulness in schools and mindfulness with kids and even beyond that. And it's pretty rare that I open up a book where there are just such usable, applicable ideas that I can while I was reading this, I was going back to my classroom and applying some of these activities right then and there. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Love it. And I would love to know where our audience can find you.
Okay, so my website is mindfulnickstars.com.
And we'll make sure to put in the show notes.
Thank you. And I'm on Instagram. So Nick Star Harvey is my Instagram name, and I'm on Twitter. But the book is available on Amazon and internationally. So obviously I'm based in the UK, but it's there is a US version of the book, and it's available. Yeah,
and I recommend it.
It's great.
Mindful Little Yogis.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so fun to talk to you.
And you. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for doing such a great job. I mean, it's definitely something that is needed, mindfulness in schools, and it's great to have teachers setting up such a worthwhile organization. So
it's important, like you said, the stats are showing that it's
absolutely,
it's a must. So
yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
What an awesome interview. Oh my gosh, there are so many awesome strategies that Nicola and Josiane talked about in this episode that I'm going to be bringing right into my classroom with me and using with my students. Your exit ticket for today is to make sure that you enter our giveaway. So we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary of the Balanced Educator Podcast by giving away a 1-year subscription to our EduCalm Classroom program. So in our EduCalm Classroom program, you have access to both the English and French curriculum. Within the curriculum, you have 5-minute guided mindfulness practices for every single day for an entire school year and more. And you also have activities, printables like posters, projects, all sorts of things to bring that guided mindfulness practice even deeper and connect it with your regular teaching curriculum. So we have teachers using, for example, our 5 senses module, connecting it to their science curriculum where their students are learning about the 5 senses. So to be entered to win this draw, you have 2 options. For 5 entries, write a review about the Balanced Educator podcast on iTunes. Once you write a review, screenshot it and either show it to us with a DM on social media, or you can email it to us at bonjour@educalm.com so that we can enter your name into the draw. And another option is to screenshot you listening to one of our episodes and share it in your stories or as a post on social media. Make sure that you tag us at EduCalm. Again, that's EduCalme, so that we can enter you into our draw. We already have lots of people that have been entering, so thank you so much. Now, you can enter as many times as you would like, all the way up to the date that we are closing the contest, which is April 12th. So share as many episodes as you want. Now, just remember that as you're sharing, you are helping other people that are looking for this content to find us. So word of mouth is so key. I know that my favorite podcasts are always podcasts that people that I'm friends with have either shared with me or I've seen them post about it on social media. And that's how I always find my favorite podcasts. So when you're sharing, just know that you're helping someone else that is looking for this content to help them feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of their lives. So good luck with your entries, and we are so excited to give away a full year subscription of EduCalm Classroom to one lucky winner. Now, if you would like to join us in person for our last professional development workshop of this school year, you still have time to register for our April 25th professional development. So this is a half-day workshop. In the morning, you can take it in English. In the afternoon, we're offering it in French. Now, in this workshop, we are going to teach you exactly how to start a mindfulness practice in your classroom, specifically using the EduCalm Classroom program. And our intention is to make you feel super confident starting this practice in your classroom so that you know exactly what to do and you're ready the next day to get started. Included in this workshop is a 1-year subscription to EduCalm Classroom. So not only will you learn how to start a mindfulness practice in your classroom, but you'll have all of the guided mindfulness practices and student activities that you'll need for an entire year of practicing mindfulness with your students. We are super excited. We have lots of people that have already signed up, and we are so excited to meet you and see you in person and spend a half day together. So if you would like to register, go to www.educalm.com/EduCalm Classroom PD. So that's EduCalm, spelled EduCalme.com/EduCalm Classroom PD, as in professional development. All right. It was so awesome connecting with you today. We appreciate you so, so much, and wishing you a wonderful, relaxing week. Hey there, Balanced Educator. We appreciate you and the work that you're doing in the world. We are here to support you, so we've created a free resource library for you to use anytime you want. Resources for mindfulness for you and your kiddos at home or in the classroom. You can get these free resources by going to www.educalm.com/The Balanced Educator. Again, that's www.educalm, that's spelled educalme.com/The Balanced Educator. Thank you for being a part of our EduCalm community.